Hey guys, it's Kylie Blakely and I'm here at Gator Capital of the World, Gatorland, home to over 2,300 different alligators and over 6 different species of crocodiles. Today we're going to talk about Everglades conservation efforts, the relocation services offered by this facility, and the rescue program. Let's get started. Gatorland is a 110-acre theme park combining old Florida charm with exciting experiences, exhibits, and entertainment. Opened as a roadside attraction in 1949, the park celebrated its 75th anniversary this year. Today, it provides affordably priced family fun featuring thousands of alligators and crocodiles. Since 1975, Gatorland has logged thousands of hours of community outreach and education, featuring their very own employees like Brandon.
All right, guys, I'm Brandon Fisher here at Gatorland in Orlando, Florida. And listen, Gatorland is an amazing place to be. It's been here for 75 years, a long time, since 1949. I myself been here for 20 years now, and I'm Gatorland's Gator Expert. And look at these guys here behind me. Bunch of alligators here at Gatorland. And what's really cool about Gatorland and the alligators that we have, sure, a bunch of them have been born here, been here since our existence in 1949, but we also rescue a whole bunch of alligators here in the state of Florida through our conservation program, Gatorland Global.
Gatorland Global was created in 2018 to provide a dedicated conservation program for Gatorland. Their simple mission of Gatorland Global is to protect, conserve, and educate. Specific programs are designed to protect alligators and crocodiles in the state of Florida while providing dedicated resources to support conservation research of critically endangered crocodiles across the globe. They're also well known for their rescue and rehabilitation efforts.
Cool. So a couple of our more famous rescue alligators, we have Bogey and Turnpike. Now, Bogey came to us, they both came to us about 3 years ago, and Bogey came to us from a golf course, hence the name Bogey, and we have one Turnpike who came to us off the turnpike, and they are just big, giant alligators that were just in people's way.
The mission of Gatorland Global is to educate people on the importance of alligators and crocodiles to the ecosystem, to respect their power and beauty, and how to safely live with them in Florida and the communities around the world. They're nationally recognized for their conservation and rescue efforts. Back in 2021, Gatorland acquired David, the Lake Michigan alligator who was famously found near death with his mouth taped shut in frigid waters near Chicago, and Casanova, the American alligator who was rescued from a house living in a 40-gallon tank with no light or heat. The same year, Gatorland launched their alligator adoption program, so you can say that you adopted an alligator while also making a difference in the rehabilitation efforts of the state. Featured in multiple wildlife documentaries and miniseries, Gatorland is also home to the Baby Gator Marsh. Over 60 of the smallest alligators, as well as this year's hatchlings, make their home in this protected area. Once they grow to be a little older than 18 months, they'll be moved to one of the outdoor pools to make way for next year's hatchlings. But they certainly aren't the only ones to call this park home. All right, Brandon, so what do you have here for us?
So, of course, we're famous for alligators and crocodiles, but we have other different animals as well. And this is just one of the many. This is a Mexican golden-kneed tarantula, and these guys are pretty calm species, tarantula. So it's an arachnid. It's got 8 legs. It does have venom. They have fangs, but being bit by like one of these guys is like being stung by a bee or a wasp.
Really?
So they're very popular in the pet trade. But there's all kinds of different species of tarantula in the world, and the biggest are ones called Goliath bird eaters. And believe it or not, they get the size of a dick.
Wow.
Gigantic.
That's terrifying to think about.
Really, really neat. You want to hold this guy?
Absolutely.
All right, so just both hands. We're going to let him crawl right across you here.
Oh, he's fuzzy.
Yep, very fuzzy. And of course, they got those little sticky pads that you think of.
Oh, I can feel it.
And all these hairs are like a second defense. So if they feel scared or threatened, what they'll do is they'll take their back legs and they'll start scratching their bum back here, the back, and it shoots those hairs off. And it's like, the hair is like fiberglass in your skin.
Oh,
it's
really?
itchy. Yep.
So the hair, you would say, is almost as bad as the bite?
It's a second defense. So bite primarily, hair secondary.
Interesting.
Yep.
There he is, guys. Look at him. Cool little buddy. Just hanging out.
Let me try and see if we can show the fangs here, and you guys can see them underneath. So right, boop, right in there. Big old fangs.
He's so cool looking.
Yeah. You can see underneath. I'll show you as well.
Oh, wow.
You can see them right there. And then from the back side here, these are the spinnerets. So that webbing.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Oh, that's so cool.
Right. I don't know how I'll be able to show on camera. If it
Might
will.
be able if you get
You
close
can see a
enough.
little bit of it.
I can always darken it. That's
That comes
so
up.
neat.
Yep. So that's the webbing. And these guys don't lay like, traditional web with cool designs in between trees. They like lay a blanket or a carpet of webbing down.
Really?
So anything crawls across going to get stuck. Their venom injects into their prey and basically turns the prey's insides into soup, and then they drink it out.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's pleasant.
And then they'll wrap it up to save it like a refrigerator.
Oh, wow.
Keep the food fresh.
And where can you find these?
So these guys come from Mexico, but there's tarantulas all over down in South America. That's where they're most popular, different species. But we got ones here in the United States. There's a species called the Arizona blonde tarantula, very popular in the pet trade as
and
well.
They're only in Arizona?
They're found in Arizona, yeah, Texas, that kind of area, different ones. So, there's some that have been released in wild and stuff like that, people's pets and stuff. So I'm sure here in Florida, we got something crazy like this.
We always do. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Gatorland is Florida's leader in alligator safety and education. They've also promoted thousands of hours of education and conservation efforts within the state.
Again, one of the biggest things that we stress here at Gatorland is our conservation, not only just gators and other animals, but even nature and the environment itself. And specifically here in Florida, conservation of the Everglades. I mean, the Everglades are dwindling, overdevelopment, things like that, and it's pushing these guys out of the natural environment, plus a whole bunch of other animals. So we want to be cautious. We want to know what we're doing out there, and we want to protect our native land and our native animals. And with these little guys, our conservation on Gatorland Global, where we help to rescue some of these problem alligators. So nuisance alligators, where they've been fed by people, they get too close, comfortable, they're losing their habitat, and humans are around. We're giving those big alligators, those nuisance gators, a second chance at life by being able to bring them here to Gatorland. And if you're an alligator, this is alligator paradise here at Gatorland. And this little guy right here was born here at Gatorland. Take a look at him. This is Trooper. All right, one of the many little baby alligators. And Trooper here will be about a year old at the end of August. So not quite a year old, but baby gators, they're only 6 inches long. That long is their tail when they hatch out of the egg. And it takes them a while to get real big, but you can see that striping. They blend in very well and camouflage themselves when they're young. And babies stay with their mom for about a year. And then she'll kick them out. And if they stick around, she'll eat them. So it's a tough life for alligators. So add on top of overdevelopment and just a lot of people coming here to Florida, which isn't necessarily always a bad thing, but sometimes it is. So we're down here in what we call our invasive species corner here at Gatorland. As you can see behind me, we have a beautiful albino Burmese python. Albino Burmese python kind of climbing up the glass here, the wall. So in Florida, there's a lot of crazy critters that are roaming around. People get them as pets. And one of the biggest things that we stress here at Gatorland when we go out and do education shows at schools or different programs around through the state is you want to be responsible pet owners. And 3 things you want to research before you get any kind of pet, even if it's as simple as a dog or cat. You want to know how big they get, how long they live, and what do they eat. Because some of these critters can outlive you, and some of these critters get way bigger than us, and you don't want these things out there in the wild. So you got to be responsible, and if you can't take care of it, you got to bring them to places like Gatorland where they can.
In 2013, Lucy and Nico, brother and sister Florida Panthers, arrived at Gatorland from private owners who wanted to give them a better home. That's when Panther Springs opened, and in 2014, Osceola and Abeka, 2 male Florida bobcats, were rescued from where they were living in captivity as well. That's when Gatorland's Bobcat Bayou became their new home. While you can find bobcats in nearly every state, the Florida panther is the only mountain lion subspecies found east of the Mississippi River. The few remaining wild individuals live in remote wilderness areas and are protected by the Florida Wildlife Corridor. During the 1970s, only about 20 to 30 Florida panthers remained in the wild. Today, there's just over 200 left in the wild. They're found in southern Florida in the swamplands such as the Everglades National Park, Big Cypress National Preserve, and the subspecies is so critically endangered that it's vulnerable to just about every major threat. Because the population is so small, low genetic diversity is a real concern. In addition, construction causes habitat loss, and roads and highways pose a real danger to panthers attempting to cross. The cats are also faced with mercury pollution and diseases such as feline leukemia. A general fear and misunderstanding of Florida panthers prevents reintroductions to new areas. Gatorland's Panther Springs, home to Lucy and Nico, provides an educational window into the life cycle of the Florida panther, where we can study the species and gain better insights. In Central Florida, there are 4 types of venomous snakes: the eastern coral snake, the Florida cottonmouth, also known as the water moccasin, the dusky pygmy rattlesnake, and the eastern diamondback rattlesnake. It's always good to know what species are nearby, and you can learn more about that at the Mile of Monsters here at Gatorland. Home to crocodiles, wildcats, alligators, capybaras, many different species of birds, snakes, and critters, Gatorland is also home to tortoises. Tortoises are an important part of history and ongoing animal education at Gatorland. People rarely have a chance to see them in the wild, and we're proud to provide our guests with a unique opportunity to meet and interact with them. Florida is also home to the gopher tortoise. Protecting gopher tortoises and their habitat provides a range of benefits for both people and nature. By protecting their habitat, we also protect the habitat for hundreds of other species, including iconic, rare, or endangered species here in the state, such as the eastern indigo snake, striped newts, and gopher frogs.
Good morning, you smiling.
Tell me about Buddy.
So that's our largest alligator here at Gatorland. Buddy is his name, 13 feet 8 inches, 1,200 pounds. He is the king of this pond back here. And this is his little spot. As you saw, he swam in. So these guys learn their names. You look right behind the eye, there's a little flap of skin that covers up the ear. So they have ears, and they're very vocal to each other, so they communicate. And so they'll learn the tone of our voices and swim over to us when we call their names. Sometimes it's just for food. Sometimes I think they know what we're doing. Buddy up. Buddy up. Up. Come on. Raise that head up. Get that big head up. Come on. Buddy up. 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 Come on. Hurrah. Big guy. Hurrah.
The animals here are so well cared for and loved. I cannot wait to have Savannah Bone in the next episode explain a little bit more about Gatorland Global and the wildlife conservation efforts of this amazing program.